So let's talk about some movies I watched recently. So let's start with When Harry Met Sally. Um, this week, Wednesday, we got Monsters at Work. That's the new sequel series to the movie Monsters Incorporated on Disney, and that's coming to Disney Plus. I'll be talking about the first two episodes when they come out on Wednesday. I'm very excited about that series. But the reason I'm bringing that up is this seems like an odd movie to bring that. That seems like an odd thing to bring up when you're talking about a movie like this. But Billy Crystal's in it. He voices Mike Wazowski as he did in the original movie, and so, I wanted to watch a Billy Crystal movie, and this is one I haven't seen. I've heard amazing things about, and this was a great movie. It was a really great, funny, well acted, enjoyable sex comedy that I had a great time watching. It was really good. It was really well written. The dialogue was great. And, this is the Shout Factory Blu-ray, and it's a really good Blu-ray. It was a really nice looking movie. Great to sit down and finally watch it. That Blu-ray actually isn't that expensive. I seen it in like Target, Walmart, other places, $14. That's where I picked mine up, was Walmart. $15, $14, something like that, which is a really good deal for Shout Factory titles. They're usually not that cheap. So yeah, that was a really great movie. Really enjoyed it. Then I watched this movie with a friend. We watched Get Out. Of course, I've seen this movie before. This is Jordan Peele's kind of directorial debut as like a horror director. And it was this was a really great movie. It's a really good movie, and it came out, back in 2017, and everybody was talking about it, so I knew I'd eventually watch it. So I watched it a couple of years ago, and it was really, really solid. It was a very emotional movie, has a lot of things to say, very horrific, 10 out of 10, loved Get Out, and I showed it to a friend who also pretty much loved it. Ever since watching that movie, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. It's so good. And then Purple Rain. So I've never been like a huge Prince fan, but I've been like a decent Prince fan. Like, I like some of his stuff. Of course, I love the album Purple Rain, but a lot of people who are Prince fans have told me, well, you actually need to sit down and watch the movie Purple Rain. And I saw this a long time ago, $5. I forget where. Might have been Walmart, but it was $5 on Blu-ray. So I picked it up. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch this movie one of these days. And it's been sitting on my shelf. I've had this movie for about 5, 6, 7 months, maybe more. That's why I don't even remember why I picked it up, because I've had this so long. But it was a pretty solid movie. Music-wise, anyways, because the music in this movie is great because it's the music from the album, but I just didn't really like that this movie was not a movie with a story. Prince was a good actor in it. He was great. But the music in it was not very good. It was all, it was just music for this album. That's a great album, but I'd rather just look up a couple of the good moments in this movie and watch them as music videos. No joke, when my theaters first opened, they were showing a lot of classic movies, and this is one of the movies they were showing. And they were only allowing 10, 15 people in the theater. And every single movie sold out every single night, except for Purple Rain. Nobody wanted to watch Purple Rain. And I think there's a reason for that, because at the time, Prince was on top of the world. This is a really cool movie, and if you're a Prince fan, I'm sure you would have loved this movie. But watching it now, outside of Prince being on top of the world, he's no longer on top of the world. It's not that great of a movie. It was never really that great of a movie, but it was a great experience for fans. And I think if you're a fan of Prince, you owe it to yourself to watch this movie if you've never seen it. But I don't know if you're gonna go back and watch it again. I'm gonna keep this Blu-ray because I enjoyed parts of the movie, and I like Prince, and I want to keep this. So I'm glad I have the movie. I'm glad I watched the movie. But I just don't know if it was really something I'm going to keep going back to. Then I watched the movie Stepmom. This is a movie. Now, of course, this is a double feature. I haven't watched this movie yet, but Stepmom is a movie that stars Julia Roberts and stuff. And this movie is about one mother who is receiving treatments, and she's, and the other mother is a stepmom, and sees two women trying to figure out their lives and to work together. And it was a pretty good movie. I was pretty impressed when I watched this movie because I bought this double feature set because it was $5 for two movies, and I was kind of like interested in checking them both out. I'd never seen them before, but this one was pretty impressive for what it was because I was surprised when I was reading some of the names during the credits. First of all, John Williams does the music for this movie, and if you don't know who John Williams is, he composed the score for Jaws, Star Wars, Superman, Jurassic Park. If you don't know who John Williams is, you probably have something wrong with you. Just say, like, Indiana Jones, stuff like that. This guy's a legendary composer. And, the score to this movie isn't, like, one of his best things or something, but it's a pretty decent score. And it also is directed by Chris Columbus. Now, if you don't know Chris Columbus, he directed the first two Harry Potter movies. He was one of the directors on Home Alone, because Home Alone actually had a few directors. But yeah, he's a really, really good, talented director. And, he's made a few blunders. But this is one of his better ones. And it's an enjoyable little drama movie about these two women and kind of what they're going through. I think they could have explored a little bit more with the characters and stuff. But as it stands, it was a pretty decent movie. And I enjoyed watching. Alright, let's talk about some pirates. But yeah, so, a while ago I watched the first Pirates movie. So, I was like, alright, I guess now that I have the trilogy set, I should watch the second Pirates movie. Of course I want to watch it, so I popped in the second Dead Man's Chest, which, I enjoyed this movie. I did. But it had some really great action set pieces and stuff. I just think that it's a little awkward when you see the first movie. It just doesn't feel the same. It feels a little bit off the whole time you're watching it. And it's hard to really point down what that is. But it's a fun movie. There's great action. It's, great score. The performances are still really good. And it's a really well-made, good production value. Gore Verbinski does a really great direction job here. And I think it's a enjoyable movie. I think it's a little weird, though. In the first movie, they always talk about Will and how you look like your dad so much. And then you see him in this movie, and he's this gross sea monster-looking dude. And it's like, how does that make any sense at all? At World's End, I watched that next, which was, I hated this movie, because, this movie was supposed to be like the final showdown between the British and Davy Jones. And it is so ridiculously long and bloated, and I don't even understand why this movie is so poorly paced the way it is. I mean, there are just scenes that just sit and drag on. I mean, this movie is terrible pacing wise. This is one of the worst paced movies I've ever seen in my life. Like, this is a horribly paced movie. Just like, wow, I can't believe this nonsense. So that was the original Pirates trilogy. Of course, they didn't stop there. They made two more. So I watched At World's End, which was significantly better than the third. I think it was actually better than the second, too, maybe. Actually, I'm not so sure on that, but it, was a movie where they went to go get the Fountain of Youth, and it just, I don't know, it just wasn't as good as the other two. The first two, I guess. I think maybe it's better than the first. I can't really tell. Then I watched Dead Man's Chest, or Dead Man Tell No Tales, I watched this one back in theaters, and I enjoyed it. I tried to watch it at home. I rented it from Redbox a few years ago. Could not watch it again. And I sat down to watch it again, and it was even worse than I remember. It just The performances, everybody's just so tired. Johnny Depp gives a horrible performance in this movie. Everybody gives a horrible performance in this movie. It just feels like a movie where everybody was just tired of this shit, and yet they still pumped out another one. And I just, yeah. But I enjoyed going through all the Pirates movies. Some are better than others, of course. I've finally watched all 5 of them, which I've been meaning to do for quite a long time, and I enjoyed the series. The first 2 are the only ones I'll probably be rewatching for the most part, but that's about it.